Hello students, welcome to this video. And with this chapter 13, we are going to start part 2 of The Edible Woman by Margaret Atwood. And before we start, I thought we'll do a quick revision of chapter 12. But instead of that, what we will do is we will do a quick revision of part 1 of the novel, which starts on Friday morning and ends on Monday afternoon or Monday evening, you can say. This is where it ends. So let me not, give a revision of the entire thing. Wait for my revision video, okay? And then hopefully I should be able to, you'll be able to understand that better. Yeah, instead of me going to what happened in chapter 12, just a quick look at what happened there. See, in chapter 12, Marian has been engaged to, so in chapter 11, Marian has been engaged to Peter. And what has happened there is in 12, she decides to, do certain tasks before, it gets too much. That is before she forgets them. And so since that Monday is also free, she goes around planning her tasks and, she decides to do all these tasks, including writing a letter to her parents, including writing a letter to her parents and looking forward to meeting Peter's parents. So let us start off part 2. So you will be so this ends in September, in the month of September, and the time is around 1964-65. Okay, so this is that is the year in which this novel was written. So we will so when we come to part 2, we realize that so Marian is, let me start off with the narrative and then go on and explain what the timeline is, etc. So Marian is in her office. Marian is in her, by the by, when it comes to pronunciation of proper nouns, do we call this Marian or Marian? You'll have to go and ask her. It's a question of how a person chooses to pronounce his or her name. So proper nouns, in fact, names cannot be, they are not governed by any rule of pronunciation. Okay. So she's in her office, and what she's doing is she's sitting at her desk and drawing doodles. She's actually doodling. Usually teachers do that. No, the last 5 minutes or 10 minutes, or sometimes even when they are usually substituting another teacher, they take a chalk piece and they start doodling on the desk. And you would notice that. So doodling is drawing random sketches, drawing or sketching randomly on some piece of paper. And Doodly is now a very popular app. In fact, very popular software that is now coming up. You will see that every time you go to YouTube, you'll see that advertisement. Anyway, so she's doodling on her desk. Actually, she has a telephone, a small notepad for noting down telephone messages, and she's doodling there. And she's dealing with a questionnaire, and this is the razor blade questionnaire. This is the razor blade questionnaire. And as she's working on it, she's rewording it, actually rewording the questions, making it more acceptable to the interviewees. That is her job. And what has happened is she's allowing her mind to wander. Okay. And she comes up with a very fancy story concerning these razor blades. Remember, razor blades are used for what they are used for. So she comes up with a fancy story. So what she comes up with is, there is a person, a president. Okay. Let me tell you the story. Okay, we call it the razor blade story. Okay, so there is a president has got a miracle laser blade, a wonder razor blade, which after 13 shaves, after the 13th shave, will grant him a wish. Okay, will grant him a wish. Wish panikalam. And what has happened is, unfortunately, he has misplaced this one day. Unfortunately, he misplaces the blade, the razor blade, and it lands up in a second-hand shop. Now, this razor blade is special. Okay, it does not lose its sharpness. Okay, so usually razor blades, the 1 ரூபா razor blade லாம் இருக்கு இல்லையா, what is usually sold in பொட்டிக்கடை, அதெல்லாம் வந்து ஒரு 1 ஷேவ் மேக்ஸிமம் 2 ஷேவ்ஸ் யூஸ் பண்ணலாம். 2 days யூஸ் பண்ணிட்டு தூக்கி போட்டுறணும். நீங்க நான் அதை மறுபடியும் யூஸ் பண்ணுவேன்னா you are going to get a raw skin. So இந்த razor blade வந்து he misplaces the razor blade. One of the president's maids, one of the maids who work in his palace, in the presidential palace, in his house, has discarded the blade. Okay, has discarded the blade, thrown out the blade, which actually lands up in a second hand shop. சரி, அது விற்கலான்னு இப்போ நீங்க அது வந்து தேவையில்லை அப்படின்னா ஒரு பேப்பர் மார்ட்ல போய் கொடுத்தீங்க, யூஸ்ட் பேப்பர் மார்ட்ல போய் கொடுத்தீங்கன்னா somebody will resell it. In fact, sometimes you get very good products in these used paper marts. Okay, so it lands up in a second hand shop and it is bought by a customer has bought it. இந்த பிரசிடென்ட்டுக்கு இது தெரியல. அதுக்கப்புறம் அடுத்த நாள் எடுத்து ஷேவ் பண்ணி பார்க்குறார் and he discovers that he has lost the blade. So the first thing he does is the president realizes his mistake. I mean, of course, not his mistake. The president first orders the maid to be thrown into a basket full of. This is very imaginative. Okay, I hope you also start thinking of these fancy stories. You are students of literature after all. So he orders the maid to be thrown into a pit which is full of used razor blades. ஐயோ, அது மாதிரி ஒரு, அதனாலதான் razor blades when I try to dispose, I usually line it up. ஒரு கார்ட்போர்ட் பாக்ஸ்ல போட்டு லைன் பண்ணிட்டு தான் நான் வந்து இது பண்ணுவேன். ஏன்னா டாக்ஸ் வந்து வேஸ்ட் பேப்பர் இதுல கடிக்கும் பொழுது it is said that அது வாயை கிழிச்சிரும் அப்படின்ட்டு. So I'm very careful now when I dispose of razor blades, and now for the past 1.5 years I've not been using one. Anyway, so much for my personal story. So this is the story that she comes up with. So அவ என்ன பண்றான்னா, அந்த மெய்டை வந்து கொடுமைப்படுத்துற மாதிரி he throws that maid. This is the story that Marion comes up with. Okay, and what has happened is he sends a team of middle-aged women. Okay, so someone like same or surveys la irukra interviewers mari. Okay, a team of middle-aged women who have to search for that blade. Okay, to search for that wonder blade. அது யாருக்கிட்ட போயிருக்கு? Okay, to search for the wonder blade and exchange it. நான் உனக்கு இந்த blade கொடுக்குறேன், இந்த razor blade கொடுக்குறேன், அது இது பண்ணுங்க. Now what is the connection between this and so they have to go around and get this and give a replacement razor blade. They have to search for this. Okay, so this page is over. I'll go to a new page. So we are starting a new page. So here this president sends a team of middle-aged women to search for the wonder blade. And இது ஏன் replacement razor blade na, questionnaire, in the questionnaire there is a question which is given to the interviewer. Okay, which tells the interviewee that I would like to give you this razor blade and you have to try it so that you can find out whether this is better. Okay, so there is this, in the razor blade questionnaire there is a replacement blade given by the interviewer, so that the interviewee The interviewer will give it to the interviewee and the interviewee can try it. Now, remember, all the interviews will be men. So now we are going to see all the interviewees will be men. Obviously, I mean, women don't shave, obviously. Yeah. But we are going to see a very, very paradoxical situation just now. So what happens is, so in the interview, அவங்க replacement grade கொடுப்பாங்க. அதோட questions அவங்க prepare பண்ணிட்டு இருக்காங்க. She's rewording the questions in such a manner that it sounds persuasive. Okay, so that the interviewees cooperate and do that. But this happens in her mind. This she's thinking of, and then she looks at the office. Actually, the office, there is chaos in the office. There is chaos around her. And actually, Marian confesses that whenever there is chaos, likes chaos because she is able to work on her work better and less. Okay, she's able to, and what is this chaos connected to? Okay, we'll see that. She's able to work less, and and she's, no one notices her. And that is one, I think everybody has a right to privacy, even in the office. That is why, cubicles were built. Okay, you understand cubicles? எல்லாரும் தனித்தனி நம்ம காலேஜ் ஆஃபீஸ்க்கு போனீங்கன்னாக்க there is a cubicle for each person. டக்குன்னு நீங்க பாத்திர முடியாது அவங்க என்ன வேலை பார்க்கறாங்கன்னு. அட்லீஸ்ட் அவங்க ஒர்க் வந்து, so it should be private. So no one notices her, and she is able to, in fact, she actually, if it had been before the engagement, she would have participated, and usually, no, she never participated in such chaos. Okay, or took part in the chaos, or tried to solve the problem that resulted in the chaos. What she would do, so usually if you go to, once you enter the workforce, everyone will start working in a frenzy. Fire fighting mari, they will start working in a frenzy. It will be like a firefight. Okay, it will be like you fighting a fire. But if every day becomes like this, the stress level increases. That is why. So it will be like firefighting. And she had thought, anyway, she had lost. Marian indicates that she does not have to worry because she doesn't need this job. Okay, she anyway does not need this job. Peter had indicated, Peter had said that she could work after marriage, but she knew that she didn't need it financially. Okay, so after their marriage, she could continue working, but she was clear. She was clear that, okay. And she knew that, and Peter also assured her that she need not work. Okay, she need not work for money. Need not in the sense, பணத்துக்காக போய் ஒர்க் பண்ண வேணாம். Okay, but people, this is not the case usually. Yeah, so there is always this. I don't want to draw this line because it creates division mari create பண்றது. So I'll just write it on this side. So chapter 13 is continuing here. So she did not work for money அப்படிங்கிறா. So Marian is usually calm, has remained calm throughout all these chaotic moments, and people have praised her. Okay, people have said that, oh, wonderful Marian. Actually, adu vandu ipo the problem is in a work atmosphere, sometimes when you are not, this will be called as disinterestedness. You are not interested in the company அப்படின்னு வரும். Anyway, உங்க company culture பிரகாரம் நீங்க react பண்ணிக்கோங்க. See, I don't want to say anything about that. As concerns, a college, there are usually not very stressed moments, but people, certain times you get, an emergency situation, which is usually dealt by the administration, or if a student indiscipline வச்சுக்கோங்க, அதுக்கு, something like that. So what should we do, sir, when we enter the workforce? எந்த கம்பெனில சேர்றீங்களோ அந்த கம்பெனியோட ஒர்க் கல்ச்சர் எப்படியோ அது பிரகாரம் டிசைட் பண்ணிக்கோங்க. Anyway, so Marian has remained calm through all this, and she starts actually. She after this, so it is the chaos is continuing, and the reason for the chaos is now so actually, as she sees, Marian observes the others in the office, the activities of the others in the office, which is in chaos. And she is, when she sees people running around, she is reminded of this metaphor that, that Duncan had used in the laundromat, that of armadillos. She's reminded of this armadillo metaphor. Okay, I told you armadillos are lizards, and Duncan had used this. So, this metaphor. So she immediately is reminded of Duncan, and she wonders where, where he was, actually, remember, Marian does not know Duncan's name, but she's just reminded of this person. And there is an indication that Marian has visited that laundromat many times. So this was a long time ago. Okay, so long time ago, there is a, so we are assuming that chapter 12 ends in September, the first week of September. We are somewhere in November. Okay, so I'll write it here. Okay, because she indicates in page number 131, I had visited the laundromat. She had been to the laundromat several times since, and had always half expected to see him there. So that is very clear. Then as she's observing the office, she's noticing Emmy. Emmy is one of the office virgins. Okay, so she notices Emmy. Emmy in a frenzy. Okay, she was working double time. Okay, and actually she realized that that the entire chaos was connected to. So அவளே கெஸ் பண்றா, and அவங்க ஆக்டிவிட்டியை பார்த்துட்டு அவங்களுக்கே புரியுறது, it is something to do with the sanitary napkin survey. So this is another survey that they are working on, like the razor blade survey. What has really happened is they had sent letters, sealed letters to to various prospective interviewees. Okay, they had sent letter to the interviewees and wanted a response so that they can come and interview them. Okay, since it's dealing with something like this, which is very personal, the response was not good. In fact, some of the housewives who are the interviewers, அவங்க இன்டர்வியூ பண்ண எடுத்துன்னு போவாங்கல்ல, who are the interviewers, they refuse to use this, go for this survey, and they had in fact threatened to resign. Some had resigned. Okay, so there was a threat of resigning also, because anyway they don't need the money. Since they are housewives, they are doing it for just to fill up the time. They are not worried about about the money. So interviewers வந்து நான் இதெல்லாம் எடுத்துன்னு போய் நாம இன்டர்வியூ பண்ண முடியாது. So it's something very very personal and something which no one talks about. 1965, imagine. Okay, so yeah, and what had happened is there was another mistake that had happened. Some of the letters had gone to the wrong persons. In fact, they had gone to certain men. So certain men, these men had said, "Are you serious?" அப்படின்னா எழுதி சில பேர் எழுதி நமக்கு திரும்பி கொடுத்தாங்க. So there is a sort of letter as a preliminary questionnaire that has gone to prospective interviewees, but it has gone to the wrong persons, the wrong men. I'm sorry, the men, and they have sent it back, saying that the preliminary questionnaire is not meant for me, obviously. And there is one interesting, in the preliminary questionnaire, there are two interesting facts that come. One is, of course, that a woman came. One of the women claims that she has been pregnant for nearly 7 years non-stop. Okay, She has been pregnant for 7 years, and one respondent, another respondent is around. Which is very strange, because to what till what age this particular thing is needed. Another respondent calls herself nearly 80 years old. There is an 80-year-old woman, 80-year-old woman who has responded, which is very strange, because what the fact is. So all this information, you come to a new page, okay? All this information is given by Emmy. She guesses, Marian guesses part of it. She knows that the sanitary napkin survey is going on, but all this is given by Emmy. See, when you send something by post, the letter has to reach the right person. So that because of all that, the chaos is there, and they are trying to resolve this chaos. So what has happened is, it is almost lunchtime. So Marian, as such, she's not concentrating. So what she does is, she suggests that, okay, let us, actually she's tired of, she looked at the questionnaire, okay, that she was working on, and she was, she was actually not very hungry. But since it was lunchtime, she decided, she asks Millie. Marian suggests that they go for lunch. Millie agrees. Millie is in the thick of it. Millie is busy, but she agrees. And see, there is one more thing. Lunchtime in all Western countries, including in developed countries like Japan. Now China has got that culture. Singapore, it means going out. Yarume kattindu varamatanga. In fact, there is a very interesting, tale connected to this. South Africa, நம்ம ஆளுங்க, நம்ம இந்தியன்ஸ் போய் இருக்கும் பொழுது, நம்ம எப்பவுமே we bring food, okay, along with us. So what has happened is, அதை கிண்டல் பண்ணி அவங்க அந்த பனி சவ் அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவாங்களாம். BUNNYCHOW. இது என்ன பனி சாவ் அப்படின்னா, பனா ஹுவா கானா, வீட்டுல செஞ்சு கொண்டு வருது. பனா ஹுவா கானா மீன்ஸ் கர்மே பனா ஹுவா கானா. If you know Hindi, I'm giving you the translation for that. I'm not saying you don't know Hindi, but those who know Hindi will know bana hua khana. Ghar mein bana hua khana. In fact, அது அவள் கிண்டல் பண்ணி பனி சோ அப்படின்னா அவங்க சொன்னாங்க. So this is not connected to the novel, but I'm just telling you. So lunch means going out. So Millie is busy. She agrees. So immediately I told you, all these three office virgins, Emmy, Millie, and Lucy. Lucy also agrees. In fact, Lucy and Emmy also join. All the three, usually these three people work together. They always, okay. And I told you why they are called office virgins and all that. We'll revisit that. Don't worry at all. We'll revise that. Don't worry. So they go to, when they come out of the office, it is cold. Okay. So we are assuming it's November or December. Okay. So they actually, Lucy suggests, a restaurant. She suggests one restaurant which is very English, which has a very English atmosphere. So it is very, upper class. And the moment she removes, they go to the restaurant, okay, and they are actually waiting for the waitress to come, and immediately, Marian notices that Lucy is dressed to attract, okay, dressed to kill actually. That Lucy is dressed in such a manner that is not, revealingly. No, please don't mistake me. She's dressed. She's very conscious about her dress. She has put on, a tinge like lipstick, and she is eyeing those. She's dressed well, and she is eyeing those. She is trying to catch the attention of the businessmen who come there. Okay, for lunch, of the businessmen who come there for lunch. So, appo Marianukku puriyirudhu, who come there for lunch. That is into that restaurant. Okay. So, idu purinjirudhu Marianukku, and then Emmy complains about her. They are sitting in the restaurant, and Emmy complains about her allergies. Okay, about her weather allergies. Over summer la enikku ipdi aarudhu, winter la enikku ipdi aarudhu. So it is dry about her skin problems that she has, uh, you know especially in winter. Okay, flaky ஆயிடுறது, that is dry ஆகி அது அப்படியே உதிர்ற மாதிரி இருக்கு. ஸோ ஒவ்வொரு சீசனுக்கும் அவளுக்கு ஒரு பிரச்சனை. ஸோ இந்த நாவல் மேரியன் the novelist says, see, in the winter her skin flakes up, in the rains அவளே confess பண்றா, she gets pain in the feet, and when it's summer she gets eye strain. So she complains about her skin, and she's got her according to the weather, according to the season, her complaints differ. Okay, so now it's almost winter, so it is like that. So in the businessman வந்து எப்படி அவ, so இங்க நம்ம let us come back to this. Before the orders come, these businessmen are what Lucy is doing with them. சும்மா அப்படியே பார்த்துட்டு இருக்கா, and she wants to attract one of them or catch the attention of one of them. The novelist calls, remember, it's not Marian describing it, bread-faced businessmen. And actually there is a comparison that Lucy that she gives, that Lucy is trying to fish for one of them, and there is a comparison given to as if they are in an aquarium, and that please read the comparison in page number P is page number 135. So Marian wonders why she should why Lucy is doing this. Okay, Lucy is wasting her time doing this. According to her, she can try her luck somewhere else. Okay, so this is one thing that Marian does. She observes before the orders come in. Then the waitress comes, they give their orders. Okay, and each person orders. Millie is ordering a very okay, she orders a steak and kidney pie. Okay, this is important because I'm giving you this information because Marian starts losing a grip over her appetite. Okay, she doesn't become anorexic, but there is a problem there. நான் என்னன்னு அப்புறம் சொல்றேன். So this is a steak, and steak is beef. Okay, steak and kidney pie, and Amy chooses a salad. Okay, a salad with cottage cheese. Plus, by plus I mean with. Okay, and who's the other Lucy? Other okay, Lucy chooses an omelette. One second, just when her turn comes, Marian is very, very surprised because Marian has lost her appetite. She was the one who suggests that they should go for lunch. So she thought that she'll be ordering something quite substantial, but at the end of it, she just orders a cheese sandwich, which is a light meal for her. Okay, and she was not hungry. She was not even hungry. Now this is a very important moment in Marian's characterization, Marian's timeline, because slowly from here she's going to lose her appetite step by step, and I'll tell you why. We'll discover why. Okay. So she was a bit surprised that she had lost her appetite, and then as they start eating, Lucy inquires about Peter. This is because whenever Peter calls Marian, Lucy is the one who picks up the phone and passes it on to Marian. This is happening in the office. Whenever he gives her a call at office, whenever Peter calls Marian, the phone is picked up by Lucy and then passed on to Marian. And certain times, Lucy takes messages from Peter. Messages from Peter. Remember, this is not the day and age of cell phones when you can, call very individually and need not depend on someone. Anyway, so she is a bit, கொஞ்சம் nosy-ஆ இருக்கா அவ. She's nosy about what has, about about Peter and Marian's relationship. So what happens is Marian, decides to tell them that they are engaged since it's almost some 2 or 3 months since they have since Peter has proposed to her. Marian did not want to reveal, but she finally decides. Okay, so what has happened is what triggers this? So what makes Marian tell this? So Marian decides to tell them that she's engaged. So actually, what Lucy does is she asks a very casual question: "How's Peter?" அப்படின்னு கேட்கிறா. இந்த கொஸ்டின் தான் இந்த தாட் ப்ராசஸ் ட்ரிகர் பண்றது. என்ன தாட் ப்ராசஸ்? லூசி வந்து இந்த மாதிரிலாம் பண்றா அப்படின்னு நமக்கு தெரிய வருது. And she takes messages from Peter sometimes when Marian is busy or when Marian has gone for a break or something like that. So what happens is this question triggers this, and she feels that she can tell them. So once she's got the attention of all these three, she declares that she has been engaged, that Peter has proposed to her and she has accepted, and then they are engaged to get married. Okay, they are engaged. So this is and look at the reaction of all these three women. We are going to look at that in the next page. Okay, so the moment she says that they are engaged, you should look at the reaction of these three people. The reaction is varied. Okay, so first let's look at the reaction of Lucy. She's surprised. She says, "Oh no அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு அப்புறம் how wonderful அப்படிங்கிறா. Okay, she's shocked and surprised, and then she corrects herself. Okay, Millie gives a positive reaction. She says jolly good. Okay, Millie is positive reaction. And Emmy, she's kept 3 pills that she takes during her meals. So she she took another pill, and these pills are actually the pills that she takes, the medicine that she takes during and after meals. Okay, or not before and after meals, if I'm right. I'm not sure about that. That is not revealed. Okay, but she has lined up these pills on the lunch table. So if I'm right, before, during, and after meals, this is mentioned in the pills are mentioned in page number 135, and these reactions come in page number 136. Okay, so actually there is a blue pill, a pink pill, white pill, and an orange pill. 3 pills. Most of them will be vitamin pills, if I'm right. Okay, so after the first surprised and very different reactions, these pills are mentioned in page 135, people, and the reactions are mentioned in page 136. They say, look, we thought that each of them ask, they think of Peter as the Lucy is asking, Peter, I thought Peter was the confirmed bachelor type. Okay, people, one thing, I'm sorry, I'm again saying something about which you cannot say anything standard. சும்மா நான் கன்ஃபார்ம் பேச்சுலர்னு சொல்லி பிரயோஜனம் கிடையாது. ஒரு பாயிண்ட் வரைக்கும் தான் நீங்க சொல்ல முடியும் as a boy, as a man. The moment you've got a steady job and you know that you're going to rise up in life, you're going to get the promotions and etc., it's better you listen to your parents and get married. In Indian context சொல்றேன். சும்மா நான் 26 வயசாச்சு 27, let me give it 3 more years, you're getting older, boss. Be very clear about it. So Lucy wonders, she's still not got over a shock. So she says, I thought Peter was the the confirmed bachelor type. How is it? And then Marian doesn't know. She is she in all her modesty, she says, I don't know. But the fact is that that he has proposed to her and they're getting married. So what is that? So they are back in the office. The surprise is over, and immediately Peter calls Marian, obviously through Lucy. And Marian realizes that these three people have started behaving a bit differently. They are more curious to know what they are talking. So he cancels the dinner appointment that they had, the dinner date that they had that evening. அந்த ஈவினிங் என்னால வர முடியாது அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு he's a bit, he's under pressure. He tells her that he's under pressure. Okay. I'll be doing a separate video on this, not part of the novel, but just as a part of the, okay, to tell you how to read a novel. I'm not saying if you're interested. I just want to give you a glimpse of what happens in the courses that I offer, the courses in pronunciation that I offer. Okay, so just after that, I'll be sending a short video on that. So he cancels the dinner date that evening. Marian is not happy, is not completely happy, but then they start reconciling, சரி ஓகே இதுக்கு நீ லாஸ்ட் மினிட்ல சொல்றியே அப்படின்னு உடனே அவங்க வந்து now they are going to be husband and wife, so that adjustments, and then they start adjusting. Okay, so yeah, so she asks if it can happen tomorrow, the next day. Okay, kra tomorrow பச்சுக்க முடியுமா? I mean, can we have this same dinner date? நாளைக்கு நம்ம சாப்பிட முடியுமா? The same dinner date, can we have it? And he's not sure. So Peter is not sure about that. So that entire conversation is heard over by these three, Lucy, Millie, and Amy. Okay, so this is what happens here. Okay, so yeah, so at the end of it, they sign off their they when the phone is kept, they are both friendly. Okay, கொஞ்சம் ஒரு மாதிரி கோவப்படுற மாதிரி இருக்கு, but then so she goes back to her work and she completes the razor blade questionnaire. Marian completes the razor blade questionnaire, and she formulates all the, okay, and then okay, she's given there is a new questionnaire that they are dealing with, and that is the dog food questionnaire. That is the dog food questionnaire. When she's working on this, when she gets a call from Joe Bates. Excuse me. Now, who is Joe Bates? Joe Bates is the husband of Clara. Clara is expecting a child. Okay, her third. They both are expecting their third kid, their third child. Arthur and Elaine are the other two children. Arthur is the son, Elaine is the daughter, and they're expecting a third child. And during the conversation, it is revealed that Clara has given birth to a baby girl. Okay, so Marian feels happy about it. She asks for the hospital. She's in the hospital as of now, and what she asks for the visiting hours and all that. And so this baby girl was born at 2 o'clock at night. Okay, at 2 o'clock the previous night. So பிறந்து ஒரு நாள் கூட ஆகல, just the first day, and then she got the visiting hours, etc. And then so she was happy for Clara, because Clara had started appearing very swollen. Okay, she in fact you read this description given in pages 138. When I say PP pages, okay, 138 and 139, ஒரு மாதிரி பெரிய பல்பு மாதிரி இருந்துட்டு அவங்க she had become very swollen. Now she will be normal அப்படின்னு அவன் நினைச்சுக்கிறா. Marian thinks. Okay, and she had not been able to go to Clara's house. So she wants to visit Clara. After கொஞ்சம் என்கேஜ்மெண்ட்டுக்கு அப்புறம், அவங்க ப்ரப்போசலுக்கு அப்புறம் அவளால இது பண்ண முடியல. And there is an indication that Marian gives. We are clear that her wedding will take place in late March. Okay, her wedding will take place in late March. So she feels that today, and there is a wonderful description of time given, every day is a signpost. So the time is moving towards this day, this wedding day. It's nothing like that, boss. When I was 24, I thought at the age of 44 things will be, very different. They are very different, but let me tell you, 24 and 44 are just numbers. How you live your life every day is very important. So even the time வந்து ரொம்ப அழகா describe பண்ணிருக்கா in page number 139, but the novelist has given a description of that, and she was allowing time to take her to that particular date, that wedding date. And so she deals with this dog food question. She comes back to this dog food questions, and she actually resolves that she will surely visit Clara, okay, someday, in quite soon, in a day or two. And so it's almost the end of afternoon. The work day is going to end. Mrs. Bogue comes and says, Mrs. Bogue as so Mrs. Bogue comes out of her cubicle, and she says that there has been a problem. A person called whom they call as the underwear man, and I'll tell you why he's called underwear man. It will be revealed in another 2 minutes. He has called two people in one of the suburbs of the city, and he has talked to them. He has given some dirty talk. Okay, so what this underwear man does is that he poses as an interviewer. Okay, as an interviewer from their company, from Samo Surveys. Actually, he's not. Okay, obviously he's not. And what he does is he telephones women. I mean, those who are staying at home, housewives. He telephones women, talks to them as if he's going to ask a questionnaire, and then talks dirty. Inappropriate. He makes inappropriate remarks. Okay, so we'll pass on to a fresh page. So this is what this underwear man does. And why is he called the underwear man? He actually, he goes around saying that he's doing some survey on undergarments. So this underwear man, what he does, by the way, this is the word used in the novel, okay? It is again nothing of my invention. ஏன்னா அப்புறம் சார் இதை பத்திலாம் பேசுறாரு அப்படின்னு நீங்க so okay. So this is what happens here, and immediately this guy says that he's calling these women for a survey relating to undergarments or whatever, and then he starts talking dirty to them. So actually Mrs. Bogue is sharing this with Marian, and Marian leaves the office. Okay, she is off home, she's going to home, and as she leaves the office, she pictures the underwear man. She imagines why this person is, or she comes up with an explanation for, not imagines, she comes up with an explanation as to why this underwear man is behaving as he does. Okay, so is behaving strangely. Okay, so obviously no one knows who this person is. It will be very, if you go to the police and complain, they may be able to trace the call, but remember it's 1965. இப்பவே கால் ட்ரேஸ் பண்றது ரொம்ப கஷ்டம். இப்போ கூட if a person is is clever enough to to not to leave any traces, how to cover up your trail, you cannot trace it. So enachina, she comes with an explanation. She says that this underwear man would be a very decent person. He would be a gentleman, but what has happened is he has bought something based on an advertisement, and in advertisements you always have exaggeration, and based on this advertisement he has brought some undergarment or something like that. Okay, so it has led to a serious disappointment in this person. Okay, I draw, because I feel I'm consuming too many pages. Anyway, 13th chapter 13 is a long chapter. Anyway, it's going to end another 2 or 3 minutes. So to cover up this disappointment, he calls women. Okay, he calls women. So he bought something based on advertisement, and he feels that the society is, he has to give it back to the society. He has to take revenge on the society. So who has created this underwear man? This the society, and she feels that this person, this man, has decided to take revenge on the society by posing himself as an interviewer. Okay, and then just when she has left office, Marian gets a very strange thought. She thinks that this underwear man is actually Peter, because anyway he's a gentleman. So she thinks that Peter is making these calls uh, under the name of these calls to women. Actually, what is the disappointment that this underwear man has undergone? He would have, she thinks, she comes up with an explanation. This person has gone to buy a girdle. A girdle is a sort of an undercloth that you wear to under your clothes. Okay, you can think of it as a back pain belt. Girdle புரிஞ்சுக்கணும்னா black pain வேர் பண்ற பெல்ட். அது கொஞ்சம் என்ன கொஞ்சம் ஃபேஷனபிளா நினைச்சீங்கன்னா அந்த கேர்டலை வாங்கிட்டு இன்னும் அந்த கேர்டல் மட்டும் தராங்க, இது அந்த 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 அட்வர்டைஸ்மெண்ட்ல காட்டின மாதிரி இல்லையே அப்படின்னு அந்த டிசப்பாயின்மெண்ட் வந்துடும் இந்த அண்டர்வேர் மேனுக்கு. தட்ஸ் வை he calls women and talks dirty to them. Okay, so the end of chapter 13, she thinks she's sure that Marian is sure that Peter is the underwear man. Okay, so before we say goodbye to this chapter, let us look at the various incidents that have taken place in this chapter. So Marian is in her office. She's working on a questionnaire, and she comes up with a very fancy story to for the questionnaire, because she's dealing with a razor blade questionnaire, and she comes up with a very fancy story. We looked at that story in detail, so you can always go back to that part, and then once that razor blade questionnaire is being dealt with, she looks at the office and she sees that there is chaos everywhere. Marian is not interested in taking part in this chaos because it's stressful. But the chaos is due to a goof up that has happened in a particular survey, and the wrong people have been sent the survey, and so all this thing has happened. I mean, all this chaos has happened, and then she decides that let us go for lunch, and she calls the 3 office virgins because they are of the same age. She confesses in chapter 2 itself. And during lunch, actually, she's very hungry when she goes there. She goes to the restaurant, but during lunch, she discovers that she has lost her appetite. And Lucy is eyeing all those businessmen and trying to get to attract their attention. One of the men's attention towards her. So she's dressed up. She's dressed appropriately for that. And then Peter calls Marian. Actually, usually Peter calls Marian during office hours. So when Lucy asks how's Peter, Marian decides to tell them that she's engaged. Actually, she decides to tell them that she's engaged so that they can be prompted to decide on marriage. Okay, so the reactions are varied. The reactions are very different from each of the office virgins. We looked at those reactions. Now they completed they had their lunch and they're back in the office. Peter calls Marian and cancels a dinner date. And at the end of the conversation, actually she is angry. Both of them are angry at each other because Peter is busy. So he has to cancel the dinner date. And when Marian asks if we can have this dinner tomorrow, he's not able to promise anything. So then she gets a call from Joe Bates when she's working on the dog food questionnaire, and Clara has given birth to a baby. Actually, let me give you the weight of that baby. 10 pounds and 7 ounces, okay? 10 pounds and 7 ounces. 4 kilo, almost 4 kilo. A healthy baby. That is the weight of the baby girl. So she says, okay, she sort of promises Joe. She promises that she will come and see Clara tomorrow. She feels bad that she has been neglecting Clara, for some time now. So, and Marian now knows that she also knows that she's going to get married in late March. So, she talks about the time that is going. She thinks about it and works on the dog food questionnaire when Mrs. Bo comes out of her cubicle and declares that the underwear man is stuck again. Who is this underwear man? He is a person who telephones women and talks dirty to them. He poses as one of the interviewers from Seymour Surveys, which he is not. And because usually interviewers are housewives. Okay. And what has happened here? The Marion leaves the office. She comes up with an explanation as to why the underwear man is behaving strangely, and she blames the society for it. அப்போ எல்லாருமே தான் நம்ம சொசைட்டியை பிளேம் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கணும். இன்னும் டெரரிஸ்ட் ஏன் வரான், சொசைட்டி வரும். ஏன் வந்து ஜனங்க கொலைகாரம் வரான், இதான் சொசைட்டி ஹஸ் டு பி பிளேம்டு. ஏன் சார் உங்களுக்கு கோவம் வருது, சொசைட்டி ஹஸ் டு பி பிளேம்டு. இந்த மாதிரி சொசைட்டியை பிளேம் பண்ணிட்டே போகலாம். பட் ஐ அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்ட் that society is responsible, but please boss, take your anger on the society and not on me. That's what I keep on telling people. உனக்கு கோவம் இருக்கா, சொசைட்டி மேல நீ எடு, என்ன நீ வந்து விக்டிம் ஆக்காது. Okay, so anyway, sorry, I'm sorry about that. Anyway, so அவன் என்ன எக்ஸ்பிளேஷன் கொடுக்குறான்னா, இந்த கேர்ள் அட்வர்டைஸ்மெண்ட்ல so and the girl advertisement like girdle வாங்கின உடனே he is disappointed and that's why he is doing all this. Okay, and then by the end of when she comes out of the office, Marion is sure that Peter is making all these calls and he is the underwear man. So with that we'll complete this, stop this video. I know that this chapter was long. There are other long chapters also, but I'll try to keep it as short as possible, I mean as brief as possible. But remember, you are now in third year, so a 40-minute, 50-minute video should not be a problem for you. So thanks a lot, people, for watching this video. And please keep the questions coming in. Yeah. Goodbye and best of luck.